the action and implementation is
Mm,
what really cements the mindset shift, right?
mm.
And they all have to be done in unison. You can't like wait till the mindset is changed, then you go take the action to manage the money, then you go make more money. It's all happening at the same time. And again, you just have to keep working on yourself and on your business at the same time.
Yes, that is so good. Well, y'all, welcome to the season 1 finale of the Talk Your Shit podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about shmoney. Okay, we're going to talk about securing the bag and why it's so important to manage your money on the daily. And I'm joined today by none other than my internet auntie, quick book killer, the OG, Nicole Barham.
QuickBook Killer. Oh my Lord, you're
Quick
gonna
book
have QuickBooks
killer.
coming for me.
It's
Oh, I
okay.
love
You're
it.
ready. You're fine. You're ready. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Oh my Lord. I'm so happy that we are doing this. I have been watching your glow up and it's amazing. Just happy to
Oh,
be on the finale, like leaving the best for last, right? Talk about that.
exactly. Leaving the best for last. We had to, build them up to this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about you, your background, what you do, and what it was like for you growing up.
Absolutely. So, hello everyone. I am Nicole Barham. My company is 5 Minute Bookkeeper, and the road to this point has been very interesting, right? I'm originally Jamaican, if you can hear my accent. And I
Mm.
love like Jamaicans have this thing where like we are always Jamaican no matter how where we go, right? And so I've been in the States for over 20 years. But before that, my life in Jamaica, grew up there, grew up with a large family, large community. Like sometimes people talk about taking a village to raise a child. We
Mm.
literally had that village, right? Like people in our community, very rural community, right? I tell people all the time we had no running water, no electricity, but we had a lot of love and we had a lot of food, like a lot of farm, the original farm to table. That is so
Mhm.
like nowadays it's like, bougie people do that. We did that back in the day, right? So that was my upbringing, just in a really community-based environment. And I feel like it has really shaped who I am today. I love people.
Mhm.
I love community. I love building communities. And
Mhm.
I feel like we thrive so much in community, right? And so, yeah, it's been, moving to the States in my early 20s, working in corporate. Everybody comes to America. The American dream is to work in corporate.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then, get to a point where you're like, you know what? I don't know if I love this daily commute and, all these things keeping me away from my
Mhm.
family. And so I have my son, Brandon. I talk about Brandon a lot. He's on the autism spectrum. And we just, just having these long commutes and not having him get the therapies that he needs at the times that are appropriate during the day, it was just really hard, right? So after I did the corporate thing, I decided I really wanted to do something else, right? And that's how
Mhm.
5 Minute Bookkeeper was born. And I'm sure that we're going to get into it a little bit more later. But yeah, that's the condensed version of my background.
Yes, I know about your Jamaican background. I appreciate it a lot. I realized too how much I loved your voice. I know you get this a lot, but your voice is very, very soothing. Just something about it.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
I get that a
yeah,
lot. I probably should have been a therapist or something. I don't know.
you know what? That could have been like an extra source of income, honestly, for
Yeah.
you. So you mentioned your son. Would you say he was like the main motivation for 5 Minute Bookkeeper?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that when I started, well, maybe not the main motivation, but he became that big why. I
Mm-hmm.
remember, so 5 Minute Bookkeeper was born really out of adversity, right?
Mm,
I was one of those entrepreneurs. Ventured into entrepreneurship, even though I had a day job, right? I was in the
mm,
corporate. And I was thinking, you know what? I want to do my own thing. Let me have the side hustle. Was not paying attention to my finances and really got to the point where I found myself in six figures of debt
mm,
and had to file bankruptcy, right? And then when I think about this, my background, like when I started in Jamaica, I was an accountant, right? And
mm,
I worked for as an accountant for years. And so when I looked at that, I'm like, I'm not supposed to be, you know, in bankruptcy. I'm not supposed to be one of those people who doesn't pay attention to their finances.
mm,
And so I really, use those tools that I had in my toolbox, right? A lot of coaches will talk about using the tools in your toolbox to
mm,
create your business, right? And so that's what I did. I created 5 Minute Bookkeeper because I kept on top of my finances like daily. It was, I wouldn't say it was an obsession, but I really was in there daily, looking
oh
at
my
my
gosh.
budget, making sure that we stayed. Because the thing about it too is that when you file bankruptcy, there is no, you have no credit. So
Mm,
you literally have to live off what you earn. And, sticking to a budget made sure that we weren't in trouble, like we weren't overdrafting our
mm,
accounts or anything like that. So it was a necessity. But then when we started to like see our way, started to, save money again, started to, make more income, I kept at it. And I'm like, there has to be more people like me. There has to
mm,
be more people who are not looking at the finances and just need something simple to do that.
mm.
And I remember when I used to have my side business, I was, always scrambling at the tax deadline. And isn't it funny how the recording is actually taking place on the tax
On the tax
deadline?
deadline. No, literally, literally.
So, always scrambling. And let me tell you, there are people right now who are scrambling to get their numbers together to file their taxes before midnight tonight,
Hmm.
right? And so I said to myself, I can create something for business owners like myself who
Hmm.
was not paying attention to the finances and found myself in this predicament. Let
Hmm.
me help them. Let me create something that would help them. And
Hmm.
let me tell you, you have seen all the testimonials on these internet streets.
Girl. Woo! I have seen them and I enjoy them and I'm like, yes, praise auntie. Yes, she knows what she's doing. Yes.
Yeah, love it so much. And my clients are like, first of all, they're hilarious. Like the testimonials that they write is like a whole love story, and I love them, right? Um, and so I'm like, first of all, I just wanted to create this little thing that would just
Mhm.
help them with their finances. But it has done so much more than that, right?
Mhm.
It has really, helped them to be better business owners, better entrepreneurs, being on
Mhm.
top of the numbers, not
Mhm.
feeling scared anymore, not
Mhm.
fearing, oh my gosh, how much is coming in? How much is going out?
Mhm.
What am I making? Am I making a profit or a loss, right?
Mhm.
And then planning too, because if you're building your business, you want to be able to plan and project into the future and how much do I want to make, all that. And so I built all that into 5 Minute Bookkeeper because I knew that it was needed, right? And people wanted something simple. There are other platforms that they say they're quick, but they're not.
Mhm. Ooh.
And what they do is they're overwhelming. Like there's the tutorials are so long. And I've
Mhm.
had clients get 5 Minute Bookkeeper and they're in 5 to 10 minutes, they're up and running and they have started, doing their numbers. So
Mhm.
so very proud of this. But you were mentioning Brandon and he was, the reason why I started my business was because of that, to
Mhm.
help other entrepreneurs. But when it came to, building having a business full time and really, having that reason to want to be a full time entrepreneur
Mhm.
is because Brandon was diagnosed with autism at like 3.5, almost 4 actually. And when we had to get him ABA therapy, by this time I had no idea. Like I did not even know anyone with autism, right?
Mhm.
It's something that I heard about, did not know the signs, nothing like that.
Mhm.
So when he was diagnosed, you know, we had to get him therapy, speech therapy, ABA therapy, occupational therapy, so a lot of different therapies. And what used to happen was because we worked all day, my husband and I, we had to do his therapies after work. So imagine coming
Mhm.
home from a long commute, a long
Mhm.
ass commute to Miami,
Right.
3-hour round trip, right? And then having to come get him at aftercare, then taking him to speech. It was so much, right?
Mhm.
And for him too, not even for us, but for him, he had a long day. Sometimes we go to the aftercare, he's, fell asleep.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to be home so that I could drop him to school, pick him up from school, take him to therapies during the day. And that's exactly what happened, right?
Mhm.
I became a full-time entrepreneur 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, February
Oh
was
my
2 years. February
God.
1st. Yeah. My day job, February 1st, was scared AF,
Mhm.
right? You're
I
like, oh my
understand.
gosh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Am I going to run out of money, in three
Mhm.
months, whatever? But then I was dreaming about, taking him to school, picking him up, taking him to these different therapies during the day so that we don't have to have,
Mhm.
he doesn't have to, we don't have to have therapists here at night, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, he's definitely one of the big reasons why I really wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. I mean, a bookkeeper helped me to do that.
Oh, yeah, dude, and it's helping other people too. Mhm. We
Yes.
gonna get into your wins. Uh-huh. We gonna get into that. But
Yeah.
I know too, your day ends at 2 p.m.
Yeah,
That
because
is
I have
wild.
to go get him at school. Yeah. And
Mhm.
the thing is, I have to go pick him up and then he has therapies after that. So he has speech
Mhm.
therapy over Zoom. His therapist would come to the house a few times a week and then he's home, right? So
Mhm.
it's hard to, I do have like every now and then like, I might have a client who's like, I cannot, meet in the mornings. Can we meet in the afternoons? So every now and then I do that, but I try to end my day at 2 and I
Mhm.
start like maybe 9, 10.
Mhm.
And that's freedom too, right? I
Yeah.
didn't want to replace my day job for, like I wouldn't didn't want to have another day job. I
Mhm.
wanted to have the freedom, but also let's not get it twisted. Sometimes on the weekends I work,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes we have to pick it up on the weekends. Mhm.
Exactly. So on the weekend, sometimes I'll be doing client accounts, like as I said, tax season. So
Mhm.
that's when it's usually really busy. So sometimes on the weekends I still do some work in my business, but I definitely try to end at 2 so that I could, go pick him up and like have that break in my day and not be sitting at my desk all day like I'm at my 9 to 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the one thing too that I love about entrepreneurship. I'm like 2 weeks into, the full-time journey, but honestly honestly being here so far, I'm like, "Wow, this is what freedom is like." Going to brunch in the middle of the week if I want to, networking and, ending my day at 3 o'clock if I'm like, "Hey, there's nothing to do today. I feel like I just need to rest," that type of freedom I love. And I love too that you're able to have this freedom and also still take care of your son in a
Yeah.
better way than you did when you were working your 9 to 5,
Yeah. And he's
So I think
happier
that's
too,
yeah.
right? He's
Mhm.
happier because he's just not having, a therapist in his home when he wants to watch TV and,
Mhm.
they're here, trying to get him to do stuff.
Right, right.
So I really love that because he can just be a kid and have his afternoons, just
Exactly.
hanging out with us and stuff. So yeah, love that.
I love that for you too. So you were talking about earlier how you started, looking at your numbers every day. I know that there are people listening, and
Mhm.
I am one of the people who literally dread numbers. Like, as someone who hates them and would rather jump out of a window, than actually do any type of bookkeeping. How do you keep managing money like easy and fun?
So I feel like the remedy for that,
Mhm.
right, are the tools.
Mhm.
I feel like when people think about accounting and not accounting, but finances, they
Mhm.
think of accounting. And
Mhm.
they remember that accounting class that was so difficult and they
Mhm.
hated it and debit and credit and all these things that listen, I hated it too, right? It
Mhm.
was boring. I didn't
Yeah.
love it. So when people think about finances, they're like, oh my gosh, it
Mhm.
takes them back, right? It takes them back
Mhm.
to that whatever bad experience that they had.
Mhm.
They go back to that. They're like, oh my gosh, it's difficult, right?
Mhm.
They might be using platforms that are hard to navigate.
Mhm.
So again, they're thinking it's overwhelming, but it's not the bookkeeping that's overwhelming. It's the methods that they're using, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've literally seen people who said, I don't love the numbers, I'm scared of the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
say, oh my gosh, I love bookkeeping. Like they're like, who am I? Like
Oh my
seriously.
goodness. Oh, oh.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I just feel like it's the method. Like, and like with a lot of things, right? Right,
Mm-hmm.
Diamond? It's like some people think so many things are hard until someone shows them an easy way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh my goodness, I did not realize this was so easy, or this could
Mm-hmm.
be so easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, as I said, there are people who are like, oh, this is revolutionary. I've never had this before. I really, and now I'm on top of it. I never used to be on top of it. I was behind 2, 3 years, and now I'm on top of it, and it feels great. So, and the thing
Mm-hmm.
too, listen, you can't hate the numbers and not and run a business. Like it's not,
It's
it ain't gonna happen.
not gonna happen. Look.
No, you can make like you can get to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while, you're going to be, looking at cash flow. Can I afford to hire? How will you decide that if you don't know your numbers?
Mm-hmm.
How much am I bringing in? How much do I want to pay myself? How much
Mm-hmm.
do I want to put aside to pay taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So those things are numbers, and like you have to look at them in order
Mm-hmm.
to make those decisions. Because what you'll do is you'll make a decision in a vacuum, and then
Mm-hmm.
end up knowing like 2, 3 months later, you're like, oops, I can't afford to pay this person that I hired,
Mm-hmm.
3 months ago, or I can't afford this thing that I signed up for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of, you know, learning to love the numbers because that's how you're going to build that $1 million business.
That's true. And
Yeah.
you just brought me back to a thought from ROI that Myron Golden, Uncle Myron, okay, he was so great. But there was something that he said where basically America has made math hard to keep us
Yes.
poor. And it blew
Mm,
my mind because I was like, it's like it makes so much
that
sense
makes
because
sense.
yeah, because even like in the Asian culture, like the math comes to them easy. But that's
Yeah.
because, that's just how their culture is and how they count.
And how they teach it too. I think
Exactly.
it's the way, and so it's not like they're smarter than another society, like
Mhm.
the West. They're not smarter. It's just the way that they're taught is easier, right?
Exactly.
And now
Exactly.
I see Common Core, and I'm like, what is that? Like, how are
Yeah.
you teaching kids how to,
Uh-huh.
like, that's so complicated, right? And
Mhm.
then when I teach my son math, I do the old way that I learned,
Mhm.
right? The using counters,
Mhm.
carrying the one, all of that. I don't think they carry the one anymore.
I don't even know where it's carried. I don't even know if it's still being carried, if it just stopped being
Right.
kept out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then sometimes I see like some people from other countries, societies do
Mhm.
math, and it's the same result. They
Mhm.
just do it a different way and a lot easier. So I just feel like with everything, I think, or almost everything, it's just finding easy ways to do it, right? And
Exactly.
once you find that easy way,
Mhm.
then like you can never go back, right? Because you can't unknow that way. And,
Mhm.
and so that's how I think that's how we're going to change people's minds when it comes to numbers and math.
Yeah.
And by the
Yeah.
way, finances are not math. It's like different.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what makes your services addictive. Because you're like, "Oh, I don't wanna go back to the old way. I don't wanna go back to QuickBooks," you know, and use their complicated services because honestly, that was the first thing I signed up for when I was like, "Ooh, I wanna be an entrepreneur." And now I'm starting to, invest in a website and invest in like, little technology. And I signed up for that mug and I was like, I don't understand because it
Yeah,
was a
because
lot.
sometimes like
Yeah.
those aren't built for like regular people. It's just built for professionals. So
Mhm.
if you're not an accounting professional, it's hard. So that's why 5 minute it actually says 5 minute bookkeeper for solopreneurs,
Mhm.
right? So it's for the person who cannot afford to outsource and they want to do it themselves, right?
Mhm.
But these overwhelming platforms are like, oh my gosh, why am I going back to school just to see what's coming in and out of my account, or
Mhm.
in and out of my business?
Mhm.
So yeah.
There's just so much clarity in that, and honestly, it's super cool watching you just do the magic. And I'll be there one day. Just give me a little time. I gotta have steady income before I can invest in you. But I'll be there. I'm almost there.
Yes, for sure. We're looking forward to welcoming you.
I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about managing your money and your mindset, right? So what changes? You're like, yes.
This is my
So what changes did you personally make in your mindset in order for you to successfully manage your money and, create 5 Minute Bookkeeper and to keep it, as successful as it is today?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people separate managing the money and the mindset,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, let me get my mind right before I can start managing my money.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is it's not actually a theory, it's true. When you start managing the money, your
Mm-hmm.
mindset changes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let me try. I'm not gonna do like a fitness or a weight loss analogy.
Yeah, going to the gym.
Because you could say, okay, let me get a membership, and the memberships are like $10, $20. I think there's a YouFit around here that's like $10 a month. And you can say to yourself, okay, I want to be really fit. I want to start lifting weights, right? And people are like, well, you have to have the kind of mindset. Your mindset has to be strong. But I'm like, if you actually go to the gym every day for 30 minutes, I don't know that you need mindset as much as you need, and you need to go and then start seeing the results.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe when you start seeing the results, your mind will start to change, or
Mm-hmm.
or a shift will start to happen. I know for sure that the action is the mind shift is in the action. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to be sitting down, and of course, listen, there are courses, there are books, there I could tell you like a whole, list of mindset books. But if you're not going to implement, right? If you're not going to take the action, then
Mm-hmm.
all the books and all the mindset, work that you're going to be doing, it's not gonna it's for naught, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to literally take the action, and you could do both of them, right? You could maybe start to implement a mindset program or whatever it is that you want to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time you implement,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like an entrepreneur, you want to be an entrepreneur, you have the mindset. How do I get the entrepreneurial mindset?
Mm-hmm.
You get it by going out there, selling, failing, succeeding, tweaking, testing. And that's how your mindset, like my mindset right now as an entrepreneur, is completely different from when I started 2.5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's completely different. I told you when I was leaving my job, I was like, oh gosh, what if I run out of money in 6 months, right? Or 3 months or whatever. And then today, I'm not worried about that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my business is taking money in, but even if I had $50 in the bank, honestly, Diamond, I would not be worried about having to go back to a day job, my business
Mm-hmm.
failing, because over the years, I've developed this mindset because of the work that I've done with my coaches, the work
Mm-hmm.
that I've done on myself, the
Mm-hmm.
results I've seen. We've made, I think by now, I have to look at the numbers, of course.
Go look at the
We're
numbers.
we're at like $600,000 in less than 3 years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an average of 200,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to make money. So I'm not worried about not making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a different mindset than, oh my gosh, I got to go back to my job 2.5 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, right? So what I'm saying is the action and implementation is
Mm-hmm.
what really cements the mindset shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all have to be done in unison. You can't like wait till the mindset is changed, then you go take the action to manage the money, then you go make more money. It's all happening at the same time. And again, you just have to keep working on yourself and on your business at the same time.
Yes, that is so good because we will literally continue making up excuses to not pursue,
Yes.
entrepreneurship, for example. Like, no, I have to get my mindset together before I can, start,
Yeah.
posting or talking about my offer. It's
Yeah.
like you're not gonna get there until you throw yourself into it, right? Till you just do it. And I
Yeah.
had to learn that for myself. I had to just do it.
Just
And
do
right
it.
now, there's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, what if something happens and I have to go back to like a 9 to 5? Like it's literally in the back of my head, and I'm like,
Yeah,
hell no, you're not going back. So you better figure something out, right?
absolutely. And the
It's
thing
like
too,
motivation.
and after a while of doing this, and then you're starting
Mhm.
to make money in your business, and
Mhm.
you're seeing them like I've been a client of yours, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, this person has paid me this amount of money to
Mhm.
work with them, and they were super happy with my work, right?
Mhm.
So that's cements the belief that you have something that is amazing that people want and your clients are
Mhm.
there, right?
Mhm.
So that's proof, right? If you were sitting and be like, oh, I would so love to work with an entrepreneur or with a professional woman, and I want to provide, the styling for her, and I want to
Mhm.
provide her with the photos, and she just orders them, and then we do like a, what did we do? We did that try, like when I try the clothes on. I don't even
Oh,
know
the
what we
virtual fitting. Yeah.
the virtual fitting.
Yeah.
And I want to do that. But what if he just sat around and was like, I want to do this, I want to do this, but you
Mhm.
don't do it. Like you don't reach out, like you don't
Mhm.
post something on social media or
Mhm.
talk to somebody about it, right?
Right.
There's no mindset. First of all, your mindset is going to be like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. People will
Literally.
not pay me. Yeah,
Yeah.
people will not pay me
Yeah.
when people are literally waiting for you to say what you have so they could pay you. But
Mhm.
then when you work with the client and they pay you, you're like, and then your
Yeah.
mindset starts to shift, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I can do this. Okay, let me duplicate this.
Mhm.
And then you work with another entrepreneur or you work with another professional person and you
Mhm.
do the styling and you're, oh my gosh. And so that's how, let me tell you, after you do 10, 20, 50 of those,
Mhm.
you'll never go back to a day job.
No, for real. That for real. And that's funny that you said that because you were literally the one that was like, "Oh shit, I found it. I found this is what I can do." So when I created that package for you, I was like, there's something here. I know who I want to work with. And I realized that was my sweet spot because I
Yeah,
love getting to know entrepreneurs. And I'm an entrepreneur. So it's like, I understand, like, okay, this is what they're going to need at this point of time when they start getting more exposure, when, things start happening. And
yeah,
so you were actually the person that pushed me into that direction because when you reached out originally, I was like, I think she messaged the wrong person. Like, I think she meant to message Elsa Isaac because why is she in my DMs? Like, so I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, but we can do this. It's fine. So in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be horrible. She's gonna hate it. I'm gonna have to refund her. I'm gonna have to like jump out of a window because it's gonna be horrible. Then I was like, no, it's fine. It's amazing. So I like created the whole thing and then the way I executed it and then the way you just showed up, I was like, I can do this for more people. And
yeah.
so
And listen,
literally,
it
yeah.
was so easy for me, right? The way that you created the looks. Yeah, I like this, I don't like that. And then I was just able to order. I
Hmm.
didn't have to go search for it. Like you had the links in there. Girl, that's what we all need. I do not
Yeah.
want to go search and try to figure out. So even if you give me the looks and the clothing, I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, this looks great, but I don't want to go searching for that. So I love
Hmm.
how you made the process so easy,
Hmm.
so seamless. Loved it.
Oh my gosh, that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to do, right? We're supposed to make
Yes.
things easy and things seamless. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you just do a phenomenal job at it. Like
Thank
I just
you
see
so
the
much.
results pouring in, and I'm just like, yes, yes, auntie. I'm just cheering you on. When you think no one is cheering you on, just think about me. I'm
Oh,
there.
thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Oh my gosh, thank you. But honestly, so just like following you on social media and just seeing everything that you're doing and then actually meeting you in person, right? And then even getting to know you, through styling you and just like knowing you one on one, I've experienced daily how you've created this phenomenal community of people who genuinely love and care for you and support you. And
Yeah.
so tell us the importance of not only creating clients and having leads, right? But
Yeah.
also creating fans and creating people who will fight for you when you can't even fight for yourself.
Let me tell you, my community, like the people who love me really love
Mhm.
me, and I love them right back, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you the kind of relationship, and I know that people like to like separate themselves from their clients and from other people and be
Mhm.
like, people put them on a pedestal over here, like I'm the entrepreneur, and then the clients, my clients are my friends. Like
Mhm.
literally, they
Literally,
become
yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends. Yeah, they message me on, like, of course there are boundaries. Like you cannot message me about work outside of my channels that I have.
Mhm.
But in terms of, okay, so yesterday I sent a message because I have a client who recently joined, but she's not been really well, and so she's been behind with some of her bookkeeping.
Mhm.
And so I reached out to her yesterday and I said to her, how are things going with bookkeeping? And she said she bought the product, I'm going to say a month or so ago. And so I reached back out to her. And even though I have like a survey that I send out 30 days after people buy, like a formal thing,
Mhm.
I was, communicating with this client before she was even a client before. So
Mhm.
now I wanted to check in and see how she was doing with bookkeeping because I knew that today was the tax deadline. So I messaged her and she was like, "Oh my goodness, I've been so sick and I need to file an extension and I don't know how to do that."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Say less." So I messaged my accountant. And of course, I have a network of a lot of professionals. So
Mhm.
anybody you need, tax professional, accountant, all of that at my fingertips. And so I messaged my person. I'm like, "Oh, I have a client who needs help with filing an extension. Can you help her?" And she's like, "Yeah, send me her email address." And so I connected them both in that few, seconds.
Mhm.
And then she sent me a message and she's like, "Oh my goodness, God really sends the people that you need right on time." And she
Mhm.
said, "Thank you." And, she was like so happy and so appreciative, right? So
Mhm.
that's the kind of community I build. And
Yeah.
I have many client stories like that, right?
Mhm.
People who, they just don't know where to go. They
Mhm.
just wanted to start a business. They didn't know what they were doing. They're like,
Mhm.
slap their sign on the front door and be like,
Right.
"I'm open."
Right.
But
Let's
they
see.
haven't really like created a foundation and some things that they need, and
Mhm.
then they don't know where to look, right?
Mhm.
So I'm the kind of person who is like, I'll help you with your bookkeeping. I'll
Mhm.
make it really easy. I'll also, connect you to the people that you need to be connected to so that
Mhm.
you can be successful. Because my goal is I want the results for my clients that they want for themselves, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to just make money for a 5 minute bookkeeper and for Nicole Barham, right?
Mhm.
I want to make sure that you come to me, Diamond, and you're like, "I want to be on top of my finances because I want to see my numbers so I can build my business." And
Mhm.
I'm like, "That's what I want for you too, right?"
Yeah.
So I'm going to help make sure and provide the resources and the support and the accountability, which is how I build my community, right?
Mhm.
We have office hours, money dates. They're co-working sessions, but we call them money dates.
Ooh. Let's go on a money date.
Yeah, see, date your money, build an intimate relationship with your money. And
Yeah.
so we provide all of that because we really want to help you, not just sell you a product and be like, "See ya."
Mhm.
It's more like, we're here. If you ever have any questions, if you need it, come on in and get your finances organized. And our clients absolutely love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love how you're showing up for your clients. You're not just like, let me take your money and then, you're off on your own, right? But you're like,
Yeah,
yes, pay me, but I'm going to take care of you in the process. And clients want to be taken care of. I want to be taken care of. We all want to be taken care of.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And if we feel like you actually, genuinely care about us, then we're more willing to either, buy more of your services or refer you or, stuff like that.
for
So I think
sure.
that's really cool how you're showing up in your community. Take notes, y'all. Don't be out here being greedy and rude, but
Let me tell you, you stay in business all day if you take care of your clients.
mm, this is true. Yeah, look, we could just end this podcast right here because that was good. So I know you have tons of wins. We'll get there. Y'all gonna have to hold on a little longer, right? But let's talk about the challenges, right? Creating
Oh,
something this amazing, this useful. There are challenges. There are people who, want to steal your work. There are people who are like, want to take advantage of you. So, what other challenges have you faced as a successful Black woman who has created this amazing bookkeeping platform? And how have you continued to overcome them?
so the challenges, they are as many as the wins.
Mm,
Tell people that all the time.
hmm
A lot of challenge in your mindset, right?
hmm
Even though I said to you, my mindset now is a lot better than it was 2 years ago, but you
hmm
have to constantly up level your mindset, especially when you want to get to that next level of income,
hmm
right? So, you have to get the right people around you, the right
Mm-hmm.
coaching, the right mentorship. You'll need that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you can't do this by yourself. And
Right.
so sometimes the right coaching and the mentorship and the people, it's trial and error, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have people who are highly recommended and people say they're amazing. You start working with them, you're like, oh, maybe
Ah,
not. Yeah,
mhm.
exactly. So that, that has its challenges. You work with people, they're like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do all the things. And
Mhm.
when you realize you don't get the results, right? And,
Mhm.
I go in thinking, oh, everybody's results oriented. Like they want to, the results that I'm going to get. And then you're like, I paid all this money and, I didn't get the results that I wanted. And there just
Mhm.
wasn't, didn't feel like there was accountability, right?
Mhm.
So there's that. Like you have to figure out how to roll with the punches and
Mhm.
recover from losses, especially money loss. Like as I
Mhm.
said, when you pay somebody or pay a company or whatever to get you some certain results and it's nothing near what you thought,
Mhm.
then you have to be like, okay, I cannot let this get me down. I cannot
Mhm.
let this kind of, mess with my focus or change my direction. So you have to learn to get over things real fast,
Yeah.
especially things that are not going to it's going to hold you back, right? If it's messing with your money, get rid of it
Oof.
and keep going.
Keep going.
So
Right.
that's the thing, because I let me tell you, there's some entrepreneurs that sometimes they get to the point where something happens and it kind of takes them out the game,
Mhm.
right? And you cannot afford to do that. Like you have to like literally continue to move forward and be like, okay, lesson learned. You're going to learn a lot of lessons, a lot of lessons. You learn those lessons and then you keep moving forward, right?
Mhm.
So, and then just be mindful and be discerning about investments that you make
Mhm.
just because, you want to make sure that, okay, can I afford that investment? Is it in my budget? Just things like that where you don't run out of money because that has
Mhm.
happened to me too, right?
Mhm.
Make investments and then you're like, oh shoot, didn't make as many sales as I thought.
Mhm.
Client, didn't come through with a payment, whatever it is. And then you find yourself like in a little bit of a bind.
Mhm.
So again, and that's the finances part of things where you make sure like, okay, let me make sure that I have this money coming in
Mhm.
so that I can take care of myself and my family, and all the things that I need to do to sustain my business, right? So
Yeah.
just be very mindful of that because yeah, there are challenges daily, external and internal challenges.
Oof. Especially the internal challenges. It's kind of it's just I feel like it's consistent. It's like you could, be I don't know, a millionaire, and when you get clients, you can still feel like, can I actually do this? Like,
Yeah,
am I the person that's supposed to do this? And you're out here making bank, and you're still questioning yourself. Like,
yeah,
it's just kind of a cycle, basically, or you just continue, getting all these great reviews, and people are like, man, you're amazing, and I never would have thought of that, and you make this so easy. And then there's still a small party that's like, but did I do that? Are
yeah.
you
Was
sure?
that a fluke? Yeah. Sometimes you say that. Was it a fluke? And the next thing too is you can get to the point where you're like, sometimes you'd be like, you know what? This is easy. It's easier to just go get a day job, get a
Mhm,
9 to 5, get a paycheck.
mhm, mhm.
You're going to say that at least once or twice a week for the
Mhm.
entire journey because as a CEO, you're making every single decision in your business, right?
Yeah.
When you're at your job, you're making like a few decisions about your role,
Mhm.
right? And let me tell you, shout out to the good CEOs of these big companies that people are always cursing that they're getting too much money. I'm like, they deserve that $50 million.
Right.
Like,
Look, let them enjoy they $3 million a month. Stop playing with
yeah,
me.
exactly.
Come on, man.
Because everything is on their shoulders, right?
Mhm.
Every single, if something bad happens, they take the blame, right? If something good
Yes.
happens, they get to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is it ain't easy being a CEO, but let me tell you, it's so rewarding.
Mhm.
So rewarding when you see you're changing people's lives. You're
Mhm.
in big and small ways, right?
Mhm.
You're helping the clients, the feedback from the clients, the way that you feel. about, bringing in your own money, taking care of your family,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of my son. And I have a daughter too. I don't want to only sound like I only have a son. My daughter, Alexia, she's 21 and she's in college and she's kind of self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like taking care of my family and being able to be like, this is so freaking amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are two sides to the coin. And once you learn to manage the part that's like, I want to just, burn this all down and go work.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that happens too. And it never goes away, by the way. Like I will talk to friends who have $1 million company or multi-million dollar company would be like,
Mm-hmm.
we have the same issues
Mm-hmm.
every, all the time, like the other entrepreneurs. So it's not like, oh, when I make more money, the problems are going to go away or I'm going to feel differently. It's just different issues that come up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, just get used to the adversity. But as I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's so, so rewarding.
Extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not, even though I'm kind of like a newbie, a new, I already know that I wouldn't trade this life for, going back to a 9 to 5. And I already knew like working with companies or whether I was in like retail or, working from home or whatever, I knew that I didn't want to work for another company for the rest of my life. Like I don't know, it just never sat right with me working
Yeah.
for someone, for the rest of my life, being limited in what I wanted to do. I've been limited my entire life. And so the thought of working for a company for the rest of my life that's limiting to me to like a salary or to a position or to what I can do is like, no, absolutely not. It's mind blowing. It's the fact
Yeah.
that you think that you're going to continue holding a glass ceiling over me when I'm ready to break the, got my hammer in hand. I'm
Yeah.
ready, you know?
Ready to break through.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I really think that entrepreneurship is the way to break those glass ceilings and, show up in rooms that we're not really quote unquote supposed to be in, right? Because we do
Yeah,
deserve to be there. Okay. We are supposed to be there, regardless of what
absolutely.
anyone says. But yeah, it's yeah. But no one really talks about either like the challenges that really come with being a CEO and
Yeah,
the fact that, like you said, if something goes wrong, it's immediately the CEO's fault, not that the workers' fault, right? When literally
that.
the CEO had nothing to do with whatever the employee did. But it's like it's our fault now, and now we have to like figure out how to reconcile it. At the end of the day, you're still getting deposits every day, still waking up to money. You know what I'm saying? Still waking up to clients' lives being changed, and that is something that I look forward to when
You already changed lives. You
what?
changed my life when it comes to my
Oh my god!
style.
Oh my gosh! Stop!
So
Stop
you're
it!
doing it. You're doing it, sis.
We're trying. We're trying. Thank you so much.
Don't play that. Don't play that. You're good. You're doing it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So let's talk about your wins. Okay, we're gonna get into your
Okay.
wins, the receipts. I know you have hella receipts. Okay. So let's talk about the top 3 to 5 client results that your favorite ones that you have to this day. And I need you to brag on yourself, okay? We are not here to be humble. When you are here, you are not humble, okay? You are
Yeah.
full of yourself. You are conceited. So let us know.
Love that. Oh my, listen, there's so many, but a couple stand out in my mind, right?
Mhm.
So, or a few. So one of the biggest ones was, and I have personal wins too that I'll talk about,
Oh,
but
yes.
one of my biggest client wins was she wrote, like, she was like, oh my gosh, Nicole, one of my first ones when I started 2.5 years ago, my client was like, oh my gosh, Nicole, I had no idea a spreadsheet could do this.
Mhm.
And she went into like, I just figured out that I made $1.50 in profit one month, and I would not have known that if it was for a 5 minute bookkeeper.
Oh my gosh.
I
Look.
was like, let me tell you, I was on the floor when I was reading that. The way that she was so animated in
Mhm.
her testimonial, right? And so she was like, this is so genius, so
Mhm.
amazing. Did not realize that this was, and that is literally how my clients have been. Like they've discovered this thing. They're like, I've never seen anything like it. Blows my mind,
Mhm.
right? And so that's even if you're not making a lot of money, is what I'm saying, just seeing the numbers and her being so excited that she made $1.50 in profit. And she's like, you know what? Because I have 5 Minute Bookkeeper, that's how I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was, first of all, one of the best testimonials, one of the first ones. And it made me know that I was on the right path. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, if I could get somebody this excited about finances and bookkeeping, like, this is what I'm going to be doing forever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then another win is that another client, so I do have my digital product, 5 Minute Bookkeeper,
Mm-hmm.
but I also do done for you where I work with clients and I do some coaching as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my done for you clients, she hadn't been in business like 7 years before we met. And then when we met, she hadn't filed her taxes in like 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in, I organized 2 or 3 years of finances, made sure that she filed on time. She was really happy. And then she started to look at her numbers and started to use those numbers to build her business, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then recently she again did a testimonial. I had a challenge and she was in the community and she talked about just being able to see her numbers and planning for her business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she said she was able to double her income
Wow.
just by being on top of her numbers. And she runs a multiple six-figure business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wins like that. And I'm like, and listen, I didn't double her income, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
way that she used the tool to see the numbers, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, oh no, I need to make more money so I can do, whatever she wanted to do in her business. And
Mm-hmm.
just seeing the numbers helped her to make those decisions to grow her business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my more recent wins, so I told you I do finance coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I get more in depth with the finances. We do cash flow, we do projections, we see where they're at, or I see where they're at. And then we, just have conversations about how to either reduce expenses, make more money, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a client that I met with recently, we were talking about different ways that she wanted to bring income in because of the kind of work that she does. Her income it comes in, but it comes in like sporadically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, we were talking about a few different ways that she could bring income in. And she was talking like about a low ticket membership. And I said to her, what about what you're doing already that you can bring more money in that way?
Mm-hmm.
And, she was having retainer clients. And I'm like, but these retainer clients pay you between 2,500 and 4,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
How about, and they're usually like 6 months engagements. And so I said to her, what about if you figure out a way to get more retainer clients?
Mm-hmm.
We literally had that conversation yesterday. Today she messaged me. She got a 30K retainer client.
Ooh, love
Yes.
that for her.
Yeah. So again, looking at the
Mm-hmm.
numbers, looking at the cash flow, looking at the projections, how can I make more money in my business? And not just deciding in a vacuum, but
Mm-hmm.
just really, taking those numbers. And that's the kind of like I could do this work forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love this work. I love being able to, again, change people's lives by just taking a look at the numbers and just giving them some advice that would help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the client wins. And then for my personal wins, becoming a full-time entrepreneur. Would not trade it for
Mm-hmm.
anything.
I see it.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Being able to take care of my family financially,
Mm-hmm.
right? Paying for my son's therapy. Like, I mean, we have insurance, but his speech company doesn't take our insurance. And so we could decide that, okay, we can pay out of pocket
Mm-hmm.
for his speech. So just being able to do that has really, again, changed my life and or our lives. And it's a huge win. Got myself a new car. My
Ooh,
daughter's in college. Yes.
okay.
But that was like a little over a year ago. But she's in college and she was ready to, like, I wasn't going to be driving the 5 hours. She goes to Gainesville, to the university, and we're in South Florida. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like 5 hours driving. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
am not doing this drive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, let's give her my car and then go get a car. So I got a cute SUV that I'm
Ooh.
so very happy with. Yeah, I'm not a luxury car kind of person, but I love a good, like, nice car,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
So
If I get another SUV, it'll be like Mercedes type of like it's gonna be black, it's gonna be sleek. You're gonna see me coming down the street.
before we see you,
Exactly. Exactly. You're gonna see me before we see you. Yes. Yes.
Like there's somebody who had like a BMW, I think it's X5 or something, but it looked really big, like big and luxurious. And I said, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a luxury vehicle, I think I'm gonna get something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like so those are like the wins and just, you know, just feeling like I'm living a life of freedom,
Mm-hmm.
giving up that commute, that, 8-hour days and then having a 3-hour, like 11-hour, 12-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I that's a huge win.
Yeah.
That's the biggest win.
Yeah. It's definitely a big win. Like even a few weeks ago, me balancing a 9 to 5 and, trying to get my business off the ground, it was exhausting. I was like literally working like 10, 12-hour days that I'm too exhausted to, hang out with my boyfriend or spend time with him. And it's like, there's a lot. And then I haven't talked to my parents in like a week. So it's kind of just like, I literally, it was just a lot. And it was like I didn't have the energy to talk to anyone. And so they literally wouldn't hear from me for days. And now that I like wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, I am only doing one job. So I have time to like be free. And I called my mom on a Monday and she was like, hello? She was like
Who
shocked.
is this?
Right. She was like, what? You know? Oh, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of freedom. And you haven't told people your press, okay, don't do this. It's
Yeah.
featured in Time Magazine, Essence, The Breakfast Club with Rachel Rodgers. Girl,
Good morning, America.
Good
Girl,
Morning
let me tell you, I
America.
forgot about those wins. Let me tell you, that's the thing about me bragging on myself. I will forget stuff like that. So thank you for reminding me. Yeah, oh my gosh. Good morning. I'm just talking about 5 Minute Bookkeeper and changing the landscape of managing finances, right?
Mhm,
And financial literacy. Because I think when people talk about financial literacy, they talk about this is hypotheticals. Like,
mhm,
oh, you should be putting aside this in your 401k, putting aside this for your kids' education. And listen, that is nice and well, right? And I've been hearing that for many years. It's many years later that I did that, right? So I absolutely love financial literacy.
mhm,
But when you actually give people things that they can implement,
mhm,
right? That's where I'm like, okay, all that is theory and it sounds good, but how do you get people to do things, right?
mhm,
So wanting to change the landscape of finances and how people look at managing finances. So yeah, I've been on the Breakfast Club talking about 5 Minute Bookkeeper, building this business from zero to multiple six figures in 2 years. On Good Morning America, the same thing. Just being out there, talking about how can we have more people just being on top of their finances. It's not that hard,
mhm,
right? You just have to have the right tools and the right people to
mhm.
show you the way, right? So yeah, I'm in Black Enterprise as well, Time, Next Advisor, all the things.
Arlen Hamilton.
Yes, I have a partnership with Arlen Hamilton as well. I'm her in one of her courses, and that is her platform has over 20,000 students, right?
Mhm.
So they've come into 5 Minute Bookkeeper through Arlen. So I am, yeah, so proud of this little engine this little thing that I created. I'm like, oh, I think I'm just gonna make $60,000 so I can replace my salary. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, we've done 10 times that.
Literally done
Yeah.
way more than replace your salary. And you are on the road to be a millionaire. How does it feel?
Oh my gosh.
So close.
Exciting and terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Exciting and terrifying. But I am just so, I mean, it hasn't even landed. Like, I know I want to build a $1 million business, but
Mhm,
I tell people all the time, I feel like like I'm the same person all
mhm,
the time. If you
mhm,
meet me in person, if I'm on Zoom with you, if I'm talking to a client,
mhm,
I'm the same person, right? So I just don't feel differently, just the money. And I tell a lot of people, I think I have everything that I want.
mhm.
And all I'm going to do is just have more money when I become a millionaire. Really it.
Work. Just gonna have more money, more happiness.
Yes.
And
More
probably
money
more
in
people
the
like,
bank.
can I borrow $20? Stop playing with me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, definitely going to do that. And maybe travel a little bit more because
Oh
my
yes.
grandparents are elderly. They're in Jamaica right
Mhm.
now. And I'd love to go see them more often, stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, definitely take a trip to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And if you have if you're, open to being, space for adoption, I'm here. to
Would be adopted into Jamaica.
Yes, yes, I would be honored. Okay, so slowly closing out, what are three final pieces of advice or actionable pieces of advice for the audience? Three money management tips that you want to leave for, entrepreneurs who are ashamed of their numbers or simply need help.
Yeah. The number one thing I would say about money is it's not as scary as you think it is, right?
Okay, that's
And
comforting.
I know a lot of people think I will look at my money when I have more money.
Mm,
But
wow.
I challenge you that when you look at your money, you make more money
Mm,
because you're looking at it and you're like, I gotta make some more money, right?
mhm,
And then you start getting ideas, and then that's how it works, right? So if you're
mhm,
sitting to, because sometimes we need inspiration for the ideas to come, right? Be like, oh my God, my account is going into the red. What can I do? What can
mhm,
I sell? Who can I reach out to? You know what I mean?
mhm.
So the action behind that, right? And I'm not saying that you should get to the point where your account is going to be in the red, but you know what I
No,
mean,
yes.
right? So, so looking at the numbers will help you to make more money. Looking
Mhm,
at your money. My friend Keisha, who's an investor, she's an investment coach. She says, know your money to grow your money,
mhm,
right? And so just looking at it, even just looking at your bank account, doesn't have
mhm,
to be hard, right? And then if you want to change it, that's when you start taking the action,
mhm,
right? Get yourself, I know people are like, oh, spreadsheets are so archaic. Spreadsheets are the real MVP. Like you can do literally anything with a spreadsheet. I
mhm,
know there are apps out there and you can use an app. That's totally fine too. But what I'm saying is start managing your money
mhm,
like a real entrepreneur. Start managing your money like you're going to create that $1 million business that you've been talking about,
mhm,
right? Because millionaires manage their money. They
mhm,
have people who are managing their money.
mhm,
They know their numbers. They know what the cash flow looks like. They know exactly what's happening because like when you look at these big corporations, they don't make any decisions without looking at the finances, right?
mhm,
And you, even though you might be a small business at the moment, if you're, I mean, you don't want to stay small, right?
right.
So you want to get to the point where you are like on top of it, looking at it, managing the little that you have, so
Mhm,
that when you start getting a lot, you already set that foundation and you know exactly what to do,
mhm.
right? So that's number one. Don't be scared of your money. And why are you scared of it? Like we need it every single day.
Oh
Like
no.
all our
No.
your nails was money, your earrings are money, your hair, your clothes, like every single the chair you're sitting on, the building that you're in, like money is interwoven
This is true.
throughout your lives, like every single place. So it's
Mhm,
better to just embrace it and love on it and be like, okay, money, let's do this thing.
mhm,
Right?
mhm.
Number one. Number two, when it comes to managing the finances, I think I said like five things in that one
Hey,
long thing that I said just
we can
now.
never have enough.
Right? But yeah, I think the money isn't as scary as we think it is. And then just to let's talk a little bit about bookkeeping because of course 5 Minute Bookkeeper. I do have a personal tracker as well,
Mhm,
but 5 Minute Bookkeeper is my what we call my main or flagship product,
mhm,
right? So let's talk about bookkeeping. Bookkeeping, being on top of your books, seeing how your money is shaking out,
mhm,
making decisions to make more, making decisions about keeping yourself in business, right?
mhm,
Making purchases, paying yourself, all those things. You need bookkeeping for that. And I know a lot of people only focus on the bookkeeping when it's tax time. And, I call that bookkeeping to the tax deadline, right?
mhm,
Which is, it doesn't help you basically because if you spend just the weekend for the tax deadline, putting all your numbers for a whole year or 2 years together,
mhm,
then that's not managing your finances, right?
mhm,
But then, getting to the tax deadline, there's quite a few entrepreneurs who will miss the deadline, right? And they don't think about the penalties and interest and everything else that happens when you do that, right? When you don't file your taxes. And
mhm,
so I want to talk specifically to entrepreneurs who are like that, who have gone a year, 2 years, 3 years or more without filing their taxes. They haven't filed an extension. So there's so many different penalties and interest that accrue over time that a lot of people don't know about,
Mm,
right? And so I would say the other thing is get your bookkeeping organized and file your taxes yearly,
mm,
literally. And if you're a business that's making profit, make sure you pay your taxes throughout the year, right?
mm,
Again, keeping more money in your pocket because you don't want to just be working to pay the IRS interest and penalties,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's my other tip is make sure that you're filing your taxes on time so you can keep more of your coins.
There you have it, y'all, from the money genius herself. Stay on top of your numbers, managing your money, because millionaires manage their money.
Absolutely. Mhm.
I love it. Well, thank you, Auntie
Thank
Nicole.
you so much, my niecey.
I
Between you and
appreciate you.
Shaz Taylor and the giving me that auntie thing, I'm like, y'all are a little old to be my nieces because my oldest niece is 18, but okay.
I'll just your adopted niece, if that makes you
Yes,
feel better. I'm your adopted
yes.
niece.
Soon to be adopted Jamaican niece.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm ready. I'll have my outfits ready.
So funny. So you can find me in all the things. You can find me on Instagram. 5 Minute Bookkeeper is my handle. The number 5 Minute Bookkeeper. My website is 5minutebookkeeper.com. I'm Nicole Barham on Facebook. You could follow me on my personal profile because now we have like the professional profile that people can follow you. I post all kinds of stuff over there all the time. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're serious finance stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I love to connect on social media. I love social media. I think it's the easiest way to connect people.
Hmm.
And so and to get to know and like and trust people, right? That's what
Yeah,
you want your clients to do. You want to be known, liked, and trusted. And I think just showing up on social media helps you to do that really, really fast. So yeah, those are my handles and my website, 5minutebookkeeper.com.
for sure. And that'll all be in the show notes. Y'all know the drill. Well, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode and took in all the free advice that this, beautiful human has given you. And my plug for her is just go join it. Just go buy it. Okay. You need it. That's it. Go buy it immediately.
Thank
I'll be
you.
watching you to see if you buy it. All right. Don't come out here embarrassing me. Okay.
Thank
Nicole,
you.
thank you again. I appreciate you and it is truly an honor to know you.
Oh, thank you so, so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course.